He must have been only months, and every time he'd a football he would get excited about it. So I gone back to then, and then obviously as soon as he could walk, his technique for such a young child, and obviously you've got everybody telling you his technique's brilliant, it's this and that, it's your child, but and it's just like what you're used to kind of thing. But no, it was from an early age, and it just continued from there. He was 6 days old when I signed with Aberdeen. The earliest memory I tell about Lennon, he was maybe only a year and a half, maybe 2, and it was in Aberdeen Players Lounge after the game, and sure, I threw the ball up for him and he's connected with this volley, and just as that, Jimmy Calderwood and his wife and Sandy Clark and Jimmy Nick and their partners opened the door, and it connected with Jimmy Calderwood's wife Wine and went all over her, and everybody in the Players Lounge just turned round and thought, what's going to happen here? She just laughed it off, oh, what a strike you at, and Jimmy's like, we need to sign you up kind of thing. And I remember when he was maybe, what would have been 4, and I was down at Middlesbrough, and I actually made him a corner flag because he wanted to hit corners. We dug it in the grass, and it was like he used to ping corners in. So he just loved it from day one.
And all this childhood stuff is against the backdrop of personal tragedy in Lennon's childhood. Tell us a bit about that.
Lennon lost his mum when he was 5, and they were really close, like done so much together, and it was hard. It was hard for the families. But now we have such a strong connection, and he's got such a strong support network around about him. Football's always been the thing that takes him away from all the tragedy and all the kind of thoughts, and once he's on that training pitch or on that football pitch for games, he zones out in everything that's happened in his life, because it's a massive tragedy. It's such a young age, from everybody involved to try and understand and make him cope. It's been hard, but he's got there, and he's got a strong head on his shoulders, and a lot of people don't realise and take it for granted. Lennon with his personality and how quiet he is and chilled, and he just gets on with his job and stuff, but at the back of his head there'll be that ticking away at him, but he's got enough people round about him to support him within that.
My son and Lennon are the same age, so played against each other at, I don't know, 5, 6 years old at the Fun Fours. Any parent out there will know what the Fun Fours is like. It's normally absolute carnage. And Lennon stood out like a sore thumb. Honestly, he was taller than a lot of the boys, but most boys are doing cartwheels, picking their nose, looking the other way. Some kids know they're not even that interested, which it's fine. It's to get boys involved, but Lennon, you could see, had unbelievable talent at that age.
Me and Faddy used to just stand and laugh just at how different all the kids were at that point, but yeah, it's been such a good experience watching him, and obviously I was a footballer, and that's what you want your child to do, is follow in your kind of footsteps.
I didn't know it was Lee's son, and I spoke to Lee and I was like, where's your son? He pointed Lennon out, and I was like, then obviously you know who he is, that you keep an eye on him throughout the years. Again, you can continue to see him, you move up to 5-a-side, 7-a-sides, and James, obviously, my boy, obviously went into Motherwell, so I got to see him play regularly, and he stood out always. The same boy that all the Motherwell fans get to see, and everybody gets to see. It was the same kind of stuff that you were seeing. It's effortless, he's dropping the shoulder and pinging, like actual technique, pinging the ball. It must have been 5 or 6 maybe. Lennon, you could see, had unbelievable talent at that age, and normally you look at it and say, well, you can never tell, but you can tell that he was different. He was different to every single player on that pitch.
When he was playing with Carmsneth and Talbot, I was down at a primary school in Udinese, and he was playing against Moorlands Boys Club, and the first thing that I noticed was everything was all hurry-scurry around about him, but he was so composed on the ball. As soon as he received it, even at 8 or 9 years of age, his head was up, he was looking for the pass. He stuck out like a sore thumb, technically excellent, moved well, and he was just running the game from start to finish.
Celtic obviously chapped in the door, and he went to do the development stuff at Celtic.
So when I made the approach to Lee after the game, bad news, he was in at Celtic. I put Lee's number in the phone, thinking I'll maybe phone him a couple of months, see how's it going. Lo and behold, about 6-7 weeks later, I get a call from Lee to say, listen, Celtic, I don't know what the story was with Celtic. I think it was just a bit too full on for them.
It was a wee bit too serious for him at that time. He was only, what would have been, only 6 or 7 at that time, and he kept on, and it got to a stage where he didn't really want to go. And I thought, that's not like him. So we took him out of that and put him back into his boys' club, and then Motherwell came along.
He came in to us and took a couple of weeks to settle. He was in the same midfield. It was 7-a-side. He was in the same midfield with Bailey Rice, two of the best players in Scotland at that age group, and the two of them just kicked on together. So much so, after 18 months or so, we started to play them up an age group to challenge them even more, and the two boys handled it terrifically.
There's a good vibe and a good feeling in at Motherwell, and it just, environments suit different players. That suited Lennon at that time, and that's what he needed. And it's just a case of getting through the age groups. But when he got to your kind of 14s, he was kind of in the squads, under 18 squads. And
it was a good Motherwell team as well, a really good age group, the 06 age group, and with a lot of good players in it. And Lennon, I think, played under 18s at 14-year-old. So as much as you see the ability, you get to see the person, you get to see his mentality.
I think he was 14 when he came in and trained with my Falkirk first team when I was the manager, co-manager there. So he's had a good grounding in every club I've been at. When he's been a player, he would come in these Easter holidays and stuff and feed the balls into training with Peter Houston at Falkirk and David Martindale at Livingston and teams like that. So he's always just been around changing rooms and seeing what a good pro looks like, seeing what a bad pro looks like, and kind of judging it out himself and working it out. He had his debut with Scotland down at St George's against England, and he scored for the halfway line, which was like ridiculous. I think it got voted the best international goal of or Scottish international goal of the year. Lennon went to his high school. We didn't go to a football school or anything like that. I wanted him to have a normal as you can upbringing. His head teacher was brilliant, his high school head teacher, because there was a lot of times he had to go out of school for football, and if he had a difficult head teacher, that would have been hard.
We tried very hard to support him, in particular in his last year in school. He spent a lot of time out of school representing Scotland under 16 and 17. It was making sure that there was work there available for him to do. He actually did two of his exams in Israel, because the under-17s had managed to qualify for the European Championships, and he did well with the work, and the SFA are good at balancing stuff out, but he did well to make sure he kept up with the work that he was asked to do.
That was a luxury having him from as early as he started the school in first year. I remember just a couple of games in, it was a Scottish Cup tie actually, we won 4 or 5-0, and I remember texting friends and family on the way home actually on the bus to say, here, you need to see this lad I've got, he is beyond anything I've ever seen, he is such a talent. What I would say as well is, we all know that he's gifted with great technical ability, but one thing that really shines for me is his mental attributes as well, which is quite rare to see for someone who's so young.
It's amazing, it's all these things that are racking up for him, and he's doing it all the right way, and he's been at Motherwell, racked up the appearances and got the recognition.
We knew very quickly that Lennon was going to play. You're never sure how consistent that'll be or whether that'll be for the full season, but as I say, through the pre-season of what would be Lennon's kind of initial year of being a regular, we just felt that he was, we say head and shoulders above, that sounds disrespectful, but you could just see such a talent but with such maturity. So I would probably pin it down a lot to the maturity and the understanding of the game and being able to follow out instruction, and then the talent starts to flourish. And one of the other things that I've done very quickly was put him into what we would call a power group, so that's your captain, your assistant, your vice captain, and then a group of players, because we felt that he sort of represented that younger generation, if you like, and had an opinion and had a say that way. But there's many different ways of having an impact in a team, and sometimes people look at it and you shout, you bawl, you scream. I think very much Lennon's talent was his influence on the pitch.
A lot of time you can see young players with talent that maybe don't have the mentality, or they don't have the focus, they're not willing to make sacrifice, and Lennon's certainly done that. So I'm delighted to see how far he's come, and he's got a long way to go as well. There's so much for him to achieve in his career.
I use his example and his name all the time to all the boys when we're talking to the wee tots we've got in. They all know who Lennon is, We say, listen, Lennon used to sit at that seat in the dressing room at Breiters, so that could be you in so many years if you just work hard, listen to what the coaches are telling you, and hopefully it will happen for you.
All he wants to do is play football. Yes, he's got ambition to play at the highest level, but he knows how hard it is to get there, and there's a journey for him to get there, and hopefully we can help him within that, and he knows what direction he wants to go in.